Hello guys and welcome back to another video, and today I'm going to stick with what I know, which is Canada. As I am a born Canadian, I read all the comments on my South Africa video, a lot of mixed opinions. So I'm just going to stick with Canada for now for this episode to keep it safe. But before I get on with the expansion of Canada, I'll just let you guys know on a couple things. You can't fight me on the comments about these few things now that they're going to be said. One, Canada is going to be buffed for this video. That means militarily they're buffed, politically they're buffed, and luck based there will also be buffed. So if your country gets steamrolled, don't blame me, blame the scenario. So now that we got that out of the way, let's get into it. What's the first country that Canada would want to invade? Sad to say, it's the US. Not that it's their fault though. But, yeah, we're not going to be doing the best here. So, we're going to say that Canada somehow gets a good force. Like, again, they're buffed. So they will be pushing into Maine as, well, there's a lot of population around there, especially Halifax. So I believe that they could do a good push into Maine / the New England area. But this is actually, classically, just a distraction. As I know there's like a Mississippi River like around here-ish. I could be very wrong on the exact locations of it, but we're just gonna say that they managed to, well, not go down all the way, but like, they managed to do a little bit of a little cruise down the Mississippi and, you know, decide to invade like that. We could get some early victories and push in. We could definitely capture that and the shock of the war just starting up. Well, here's where Canada starts to run out of luck. They managed to connect up those fronts. But that's all that they could do because the US is still the #1 military in the world. So they're going to start pushing back. First at the Mississippi and a little bit into Canada. But since it's Canada's video, they can push them back. Canada cannot take on the US even with the buff alone, which is why Mexico will also be getting involved. Again, that's unrealistic, but Canada's being favorited here, so don't get mad. Mexico will start pushing in. This strip is probably very easy to push into. Texas is not as easy to push into, as they're pretty good when it comes to population. However, Mexico's going to be doing stuff because, again, favoritism. A little push into Southern California is done. And basically what we're going to have now is people that don't like the situation. Including that, I don't want to get too into American politics. But the president is not a good president. I don't know which one it is. I'm not going to say which one would do a bad job. Both of them can do a bad job. Biden or Trump. So, yeah, we're going to say a bunch of unrest happens. For this make-believe scenario, we're going to say Catalonia gets a boost in rebellion. And that's what they're going to do. They're just going to rebel. Which allows Canada to push in and connect up a front line. In the confusion, they will be able to push through and do some more stuff. Oh, the Florida men don't like this. They're going to rebel as well. They might as well connect up their fronts. And this is just extremely unlucky for the US in this scenario. This would never play out the way it's playing out here. This is very unrealistic. And again, I will say this now. There's no NATO, no UN, no any of that. So if you're wanting an excuse on why the Americans could win this, they would actually win this, but the buff is too overpowered. They go through the New England area, and the capital is definitely captured by now, which is why the US will surrender. We need a peace deal. And if you're wondering why Canada didn't push into Alaska, why would they push into Alaska is the question. They don't get anything from that, so I don't get why they would. So what land is Canada going to annex? Definitely that land, around New England a little bit further. Definitely around the Great Lakes. Alaska would definitely get annexed, although they never got invaded. And around there, around Cascadia, so that they can unite and form like a Cascadia province. Oh boy, some people wouldn't like being annexed into Canada. In fact, some Canadians want to be annexed into the US, which is rather silly. But, you know, it's just the way she goes. And Alaska's next. Where's Hawaii on the map? I don't even see Hawaii on the map. Which is weird. I thought I'd see Hawaii on the map. They're important in history and stuff. So here we have a much expanded Canada. Now, would Mexico annex the rest? Unlikely. We'll have a government sympathized to Canada, but it's not like a full-on puppet state or anything. So, where do they go next? I feel like they could purchase Greenland. One man would be fuming if Canada did this after invading the US. But, you know, I feel like Denmark would trust Canada a bit more. And no, they don't get all of Denmark. Russia's now getting scared as Canada is expanding and they are slowly approaching the Russian land mass. Although, even with the United States being annexed, I seriously doubt that Canada would be bigger than Russia. It would be close, but even with Greenland, I think it would just be too close for me to call. So now that Canada has all this, where do they go next? I feel like they just have to annex that for the sake of the scenario. Yikes. I already see the comments now. Now that Canada has annexed the puppet state, they need to keep expanding. That's their goal. So, sorry Mexico. I really like Mexico, but it's favored. You know the point by now. I gotta stop saying that it's favored to Canada. Everybody knows. So we go down and there's an invasion of the Yucatan Peninsula, I think that's what it's called. Correct me if I'm wrong with the pronunciation. And I go down. Or they go down. Not me. I'm not fighting this war. I would never fight against Mexico. And we have some push down and into Mexico around the border. I know there's a lot of cartels in here. I don't know what they'd do. So I'm not going to do anything with the cartels. I'm just going to mention that they exist. Push down into Mexico would be done. And now it's basically just get to the capital. Just like the American-Mexican War, the Canadians rush towards the capital, which falls, and once they connect up the fronts, I feel like Mexico would just surrender. And a new province is settled. Now, probably this would be multiple provinces. I'd highly doubt it would just be one. Now Canada definitely passes up Russia. They have almost all of North America, except for like the Caribbean and some of Central America. So big. So big. I feel like they could definitely get Iceland. So, yeah. Now they have the world's safest country under their control. Now in the Caribbean, there is some lore to go in the Caribbean when it comes to Canada, which is the Turks and Caicos Islands. Puerto Rico should be Canadian though in this. Anyways, the Turks and Caicos Islands wants to be a part of Canada, allegedly. I can't speak for the people, but that's just what I've heard. They're, as of right now, a British territory, and there's been like a referendum to add them to Canada as like a province or a territory. I support that, but it's up to them. They decide what they want. So we're just going to assume that they get annexed, which makes it so that they have a lot of bases. And an invasion of Hispaniola is done. They push in and this isn't... I can't do much commentary on this one. They just fall. Like, not sure what I'm supposed to say here. So Jamaica and Cuba would be the next on the chopping block. But little do the Canadians know that Cuba is not fun to invade. And so they get pushed on right back and off the island. They get the Bahamas and some other countries just down in the Caribbean, just for the giggles. And now the Canadians will do something really controversial. they'll do a bombing raid around there, which makes it so that, you know, they can just punch on in. This is probably a war crime, because civilians would be killed, which is a huge no-no. But Canadians like to do war crimes in war, unfortunately. It's historically accurate. But most Canadians are anti-war, so yikes. But eventually Cuba would fall. But Cuba would give a good fight, don't get me wrong. And now Canada will focus on fighting the entirety of the Central American, all those countries. They're going to push in and into Belize and Guatemala. They'll do a naval invasion there, which kind of looks like the Mosquito Coast colony. And they finish off Belize and connect up their fronts to push in. I think this is Costa Rica. Is this Nicaragua? Either way, both these countries will be collapsing. Panama gets invaded. You know, they now control the Suez... Not the Suez Canal. What is wrong with me? They own the Panama Canal now. Guatemala would slowly be squished. And El Salvador and Honduras are as well. We already know how this is going to go. All of them are no longer safe. Oh, Canada. I don't know what it is with Canadians. They just love Oh Canada, apparently. It is a bop. Anyways, Canada is absolutely massive. Like, this is the biggest empire video I've done yet. But they're gonna do more because, you know, I'm Canadian. And also I want to do bigger, longer videos. And it would make a really cool thumbnail. So next they invade Colombia. They push in with Panama and do some naval stuff. You know what? I don't know that much about naval capabilities and stuff. They have their military around right there. Their navy. You get the basic gist of what I'm doing here. They lose their coast, because that's my favorite thing to do in these series is, and they push down. I do not know where Colombia's capital is. I should have done that before. I'll look it up now. Colombia capital. Now that I know where it is, it's roughly around there, I'd say. Roughly around there. So they're gonna push out and capture that. And after a little bit more invasion, I say Colombia will fall. Now, if you're from one of these fallen countries, which is now very likely, you're probably gonna be very angry. You know, Venezuela, you know what? Venezuela's just gonna fall to any country eventually, you know? Let's just cut to the chase that they get annexed as well. Canada's going on a world tour as it looks. But now they're going to take a break from South America. You know, Trinidad and Tobago gets annexed, but now they're going to focus on an unlikely rival. They want to take out France. Why do they want to take out France? Because I want to take out France, because I don't like France. We're just going to say that Spain lets them through, and that they capture Corsica. They're pushing from the south, and that there's mountains there, but I don't care about mountains. Brittany does Brittany stuff, and yeah, I'm just gonna say Paris gets captured, and France surrenders. They'll get annexed into this Canadian empire that includes their South American colony. And we go back into South America just to, you know, do the wars. Very quick wars. They both fall just to connect territories, you know. And now Canada is definitely the biggest country. If you guys liked this video, make sure to let me know. I would be surprised if you did. But if you did, make sure to leave a like and make sure to subscribe. As of recording, I'm at 138 subscribers. Hold on, let me check. 138 subscribers. I am correct on that one. And I would really appreciate it if you did subscribe, because I want to hit 150 subscribers soon. And anyways, I'll just let you guys go. Good